Saranam Sakarunam Tava Pada Padmam Mohankasham Bahukritam Na Bhaje Yatoham Tasmat Tvameva Sharanam Mama Dina Bandho. Thou art the Supreme Being, indicated by the mystic syllable Om and Hrim. Thou art the truth, immutable, who art beyond the sway of gunas, yet thy glory do the gunas proclaim. Worship of thy lotus feet, day and night, destroy delusion. I have failed to do that. I am without longing for thee. I lack in firm determination. Therefore, thou alone art my refuge, O thou, the friend of the lowly and lost. Good morning, friends. This was from the prayer written to show the glory of Sri Ramakrishna and composed by none other than Swami Vivekananda himself. Today's topic is Sri Ramakrishna, the great wonder. We know about the wonders. When you say about the wonder, to our mind first comes Niagara Falls. Great scene, huge mass of water flowing down. Nowhere in the world is seen. No pier is peerless, beautiful, majestic. It comes to the mind Grand Canyon, deep gorges, ravines, the Orlando River flowing deep down, Colorado River, and huge formations of the soil that have been eroded by the river. Grand, the grandeur seems there, a wonder, natural wonder of the world. There have been spiritual wonders of the world. All the incarnations, prophets, great saints have been the wonders. When we hear that Saint Francis of Assisi, how his life was totally devoted to God. He thought of nothing but Christ. His mind was totally submerged and was full of the thought of Christ, that he could have the marks of stigmata, the wounds of Christ were seen in his body. It is wondrous for us to hear. Is it possible? Can it happen that way? Thinking of some object with love and with unwanted concentration for a long time. Can those things come exactly in the physically are seen there? It is wonder. There have been wonders. But Sri Ramakrishna, dear friends, is the great wonder. Now I'll try to quote from Swamiji and from others, and let us see his life, how we can say it's a great wonder in the spirituality that man has ever produced, man has ever seen. Swami Vivekananda wrote, "There has been no great soul at any time as lofty as Sri Ramakrishna." Swami Vivekananda revered all great saints. He said, "I love Christ so much, if Christ was today there, I would wash his feet, not with tears, but with the blood of my heart." He loved Buddha. He knew the greatness of all these great prophets that were in the world. He knew the greatness of Muhammad. But after that, knowing the greatness of all these great spiritual giants, wonders, he said about Sri Ramakrishna that there has been no great soul at any time in the history as lofty as Sri Ramakrishna. To Pramada Das Mitra, one of his friends, he said, "There is no parallel with Ramakrishna." What for? For his unprecedented power, motiveless compassion, intense sympathy for bound souls. Three qualities, he says, it is beyond any comparison. He is so powerful, he can grant spirituality to any person, any being. He has that power. He can remove all weaknesses, all hopelessness, all tiredness of a weary traveler in the spiritual path. He has that power. There's no other, it's unprecedented in power. His compassion is so motiveless, but it's so powerful that it flows for everyone. and his sympathy for bound souls. That we'll try to see how it's sympathetic. Romarola wrote, Sri Ramakrishna's life is the consummation of 2,000 years of spiritual life of 300 million people. 300 million people were having spiritual aspirations for 2,000 years. And all those aspirations found its consummation in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. In that being, that personality. So where can we find any parallel to that? It is unparalleled life that we are going to discuss today a little. We know from the history of spirituality, from the great prophets and great incarnations like Rama, what one great trait of Rama is? Truthfulness. He always adhered to truthfulness beside his great valor and his braveliness. So, Rama's truthfulness. Krishna, his Gita. Sri Ramakrishna says, what is the best commentary of the Gita? It is the life of Sri Krishna. So, Sri Krishna did unceasing work without any selfish motive. What he taught in the Gita about working in a detached spirit, he did that in his life. Sri Krishna had that trait. Buddha could give his life for a lamb. He had so much compassion, Buddha's compassion. Christ's renunciation. He himself had nothing and he asked his disciple, whatever you have, sell that. Give that away to the poor. Follow me. Have no possession. That was Christ's message and that was Christ's life. His intense renunciation. Muhammad taught for the human beings to come together and worship God and live in unity and harmony without any distinction in the social status of the poor, rich, intelligent, dull, men and all men should come together and pray to God. They are all equal in the eye of God. That was Muhammad's message. And Shankaracharya, he had greatest knowledge of truth that is beyond any duality, that is beyond any degeneration, the truth that is everlasting, never changing, called Brahman. And he could perceive that Brahman in his heart, in every being, that knowledge he had, intense knowledge, intense realization of knowledge that Shankara had. And Chaitanya after that came, he was full of love. It is said, God wanted to taste the love of a greatest devotee and he became Chaitanya to love God and find out what that joy is to experience the love of devotee. God himself wanted to taste that and Chaitanya came and he distributed the love for God to all human beings irrespective of caste, creed, gender. Men, women, all are equal in the eye of God and all are meant to love God. That Chaitanya's love for God, unparalleled, that were there. And what we find in Sri Ramakrishna, all these traits melted into and became Sri Ramakrishna. In him was Rama's truthfulness, Krishna's unceasing word without selfishness, Buddha's compassion, Christ's renunciation, Muhammad's brotherhood of mankind, Shankara's knowledge, and Chaitanya's love of God, all were intensely present in that being whom we call Sri Ramakrishna. Never had the world seen such a personality in the spiritual world as Sri Ramakrishna. Greatest power of God ever manifested through this being whom we call Sri Ramakrishna. If one reads life and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, one is struck at the immensity of his character. One wonders who this man was. Now let us see what was so great in this great wonder. So first, his spiritual practice that we discussed last time, it was unprecedented in the history of any human being, any religion, that one man could practice in his life all different varieties of spiritual practices. None was left, nothing was left. He started from his own yearning for God, just to have deep yearning and agony to see God, tremendous love of God, and had God realization. He saw Mother present. That spiritual awakening came to him by sheer dint of his longing and yearning of his heart to have the vision of God. Then he proclaimed, have intense yearning, God will come to you. He cannot keep himself away from you only if we have intense longing to see him, that he proclaimed from his life. After that, he practiced all different varieties that Hindu religion says about Vaishnavism, Tantra, Vedanta, all he practiced. In Vaishnavism, he practiced to love God as a friend, to love God as a child. He is the mother of God or father of God. To love God as a Madhura Bhava, as a beloved, as someone lover, like that. He practiced all this and attained that. Treating himself as a woman devotee, he had the vision of God. Treating himself as a parent of God and God as the child. He saw God's child walking, moving, bathing, and he would take the child God as child Rama, in the river to bathe. He used to feed him. He used to sometimes rebuke him. It was intimate relation with that God. Seeing God, treating himself as a servant. He saw God, he practiced God, to see God as the master, treating himself as the servant, calling into practice as called Dasya Bhava. Dasa means servant. And he treated himself as Hanuman. And he had the vision of Sita. He had the vision of Rama. He had all the vision. So it was not seen in any person before. One person practices God in one way, realizes, and that is enough. They need nothing. After having practiced this, then he wanted to know how these different tantras, all 64 tantras are described. He practiced all tantras and went and succeeded and achieved success through every path. Is it possible for an ordinary man if he is not a great wonder? It's a great wonder to see this. And not only that, after that he practiced Vedanta and realized God, as Shankara has realized, as the supreme being, pure consciousness, all-pervading, infinite Brahman, was immersed in that. And how long it took for him to practice that? Only 3 days. His teacher was surprised what this man is. Teacher needed 40 long years to realize that state of the mind when it merges in the supreme Brahman. And this man, his disciple, does it in 3 days. And he was totally absorbed, without any ego, without any I sense. He was in complete bliss of Brahman. That was wonderful. And after that man left, Sri Ramakrishna wanted to be in that state. And he was in that Nirvikalpa Samadhi state for 6 long months. Nobody has ever said that anyone has practiced so long. We don't, our Shankaracharya did not record it. People were afraid of recording their guru's spiritual practices. 6 long months he was unaware of his I-ness, was continuously meditating day and night, had no thought for eating or anything else, and merged in the thought of God. How it is possible for a human being? And how would body survive without eating for 6 months? And by God's divine plan, and that time comes when great yogi find this man meditating for day in and day out, his body will go away if he doesn't eat not here. That man starts bringing some food, keeps food near him. Sri Ramakrishna was oblivious of that. He was not eating. Ramakrishna eat food, he was not eating. Then that man used to beat him, trying to bring his mind little down on the body. And his mind came little down. This man, this monk who had come, used to put some food in his mouth. Some food went inside, some food went outside. But that few grains of food that was being given by this monk who came to take care of Sri Ramakrishna, for 6 months this man stayed there. Who planned this? And Sri Ramakrishna's life survived. After having that, then he said, this is all about Hinduism. What about other religions? How do Muslims pray? So he got Guru, Muslim guide, and he taught him Quran, he taught him the way how Muslims pray, and he used to remove all pictures from his room, he started wearing Muslim dress, eating Muslim food, and didn't go to Kali temple. He was so devoted to Mother Kali, but he stopped going there at all, no taking Mother's name, only Allah was his name, repeating Allah and doing namaz 5 times and remembering whatever the Quran taught. Became totally Muslim. And then there and he saw in his vision, he said, I have the vision of Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. And after that he saw, what about the Christians? How do they pray? What do they worship? And then he had in the vision of a church where all were kneeling down, people were seated on the chair, they were kneeling down and some were coming and praying before the altar in front of the cross. It was filled. You went in a devotee's house, there was a picture of Jesus on Madonna and the child. And the Jesus, baby Jesus, it became alive in the picture. He saw the Christ. And after practicing the path as taught by a Christian teacher, he was going in Panchavati, the place of his lifelong sadhana. He sees one person coming, tall, fair complexion. Who is he? I had not seen him earlier. He doesn't look like to be any other monk. Who is this? He comes near him and embraces Sri Ramakrishna and merges in the body of Sri Ramakrishna. Then Sri Ramakrishna realizes, oh, it is Jesus Christ. He came to me and being pleased by my prayer. He had the culmination of seeing Jesus, having the vision of Jesus by practicing Christianity. By practicing all these different paths in this short life of one human life. And how long he lived? Only 50 years. And that also happened after this. After this he said, he didn't just merge in the bliss of the realization of God. Now came, how can I express and give this knowledge? How much joy is there in spirituality? I want to give this knowledge to the people, to the devotees. People are suffering, they are in bondage, they are in ignorance, they have no love for God. I want to remove their suffering. I want to give them joy of God's love. People were not coming. He was terribly now seeking the company of the devotees so that they come and he could talk to them. He used to go to the terrace of the house where he is staying and used to shout in the evening, oh, where are you? I am not able to talk to you. I am feeling so restless. Please come. Mother had shown, God had shown the devotees would come. They were not coming. He was restless. And later on he describes, no mother had ever cried for her child like the way I cried for the devotees. Come, where are you? I want to talk about my realization. I want to give you the treasure of spirituality that I have accumulated through the long and superhuman practice. And devotees started coming. That was his love for the devotees to disseminate. That was unique. God loves devotees, they say. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, first devotees love God. And when the devotee love of God has matured, then devotee runs after God. Show me. And after their love has matured, now God starts loving behind the devotees. God cannot remain without the devotees. And that happened here. Sri Ramakrishna was feeling so restless without seeing the devotees. His love for the devotees was unique there. And devotees came, 1, 2, and scores there, they started coming. And then Sri Ramakrishna started giving the knowledge that had experienced. He had not read book. He didn't know, he knew only to read and write. Very little he read. He just gave up reading because he said, the reading only for earning money, I don't want that reading, that learning. Learning is to have the wisdom of realization. If that is the purpose of learning, that's okay. So he gave up reading, learned only writing few letters in Bengali, but didn't read the scriptures. But all the scriptures came through his mouth. What is in the scripture, what is not understandable, he all makes that simple and puts there. If you read his words, it's wonder how a person who never studied scriptures can explain the intricacies of scriptures in a such simple and clear language. And all because of his experience. That was the wonder of Sri Ramakrishna. We know his love for Swami Vivekananda. He saw Swami Vivekananda, he found out he is going to take the message to the whole world. One Bengali literature writes, Swami Vivekananda had Sri Ramakrishna's horse. So somebody said, why horse? He says, as the horse, one gets on the back of the horse and who can go places. like Narendranath was, like Swami Vivekananda was. He took Sri Ramakrishna all over the world, as if the horse takes the master to different places. Sri Ramakrishna the horse, Narendranath. Sri Ramakrishna the horse, Swami Vivekananda, that's it. And Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna knew that. And how much he loved Swami Vivekananda. First time Swami Vivekananda comes to Dakshineshwar, and he says, come, and he takes his hand and takes it in another room. And asks Sri Ramakrishna, and kneels down before Swami Vivekananda, a young boy. Sri Ramakrishna, acclaimed a religious person who has realized God through all ways, all different paths. And he says, you are God in the form of human being. You have come to remove the sufferings of the human beings. You came so late here. I was waiting for you. And he started crying. And Narendranath, he says, what is this man? First time I am seeing him, and so much of regard and respect for me. He's such a great holy man. What has happened to him? Is he a mad person? He had a doubt, but he didn't have a doubt that he was a great lover of mankind. He may be crazy, he may be a mad, because he didn't understand Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was a person who was very difficult to understand. He himself said to one devotee, have you heard of a tree, unknown tree? Somebody saw one tree. Someone asked, what is that tree? He said, we don't know, we are seeing it for the first time. We can't compare it with others. All our knowledge comes from comparison. When we see a certain tree, rose tree, then we rose plant, then we compare with other rose plant, that memory comes to, oh, it is rose. One tree was there, nobody had seen such tree. So what is the name of that tree? Oh, it is the unique. We don't know. It is unknown tree. Have you heard of that? Sri Ramakrishna asked the devotee. And the devotee says, oh, perhaps he means to refer to himself. He is an unknown person. Very difficult to know what really he is. Swami Vivekananda also took time to know who really Sri Ramakrishna was. And later on slowly, but he knew that he is his love. His love. Another great quality in Sri Ramakrishna was compassion. He was so full of compassion, I was saying, a Buddha came and entered into him as it were. And his compassion for those who were not respected, who were neglected by the society, he accepted them and blessed them and gave them status and removed their all, whatever weakness or sin, whatever you call, removed them, and they became and began to love God, and slowly, gradually removed and gave up all their weaknesses, all their sins, and became holy and pure. There have been many instances. One very of-quoted instance is Girish Ghosh. Very drunkard, bohemian, very intelligent person, had a very irregular and indisciplined life. That was Girish Ghosh. He came to Sri Ramakrishna drunk at the dead of night to a holy man. Sri Ramakrishna hears that one has come and comes inside. Hello, how are you? Sri Ramakrishna listens, Girish Ghosh had come. Sri Ramakrishna slept very little, some about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. He was awake. And seeing Girish Ghosh intoxicated with alcohol, drunk, he catches his hand and starts dancing with him. Something of joy he finds in that fellow. So much accepted. Girish Ghosh says, people go away from me when they see me coming, they close the door, and here is the person who opens the door for me at 12 o'clock at night, and he accepts me so lovingly as a friend. Then he says, he must be God. No man ever loved me like that. And he says, no man can ever love me like that. I have done so much of wrong things in life. He was a great dramatist, great writer, but his personal life, his character was very calm down. Sri Ramakrishna puts aside his character, whatever was there. He sees his great heart, he sees his purity, each soul is potentially divine that he sees. And he accepts Girish Ghosh. So much of compassion for this man. Once Girish Ghosh abuses all sorts of bad words to Sri Ramakrishna. All abuses he hears upon that. And his Sri Ramakrishna, other devotees heard. It was a great insult for this holy man. And he said, never allow that man to come to Dakshineshwar now. They all say, very good person, they say. And he said, never go to him. Never visit this person. Cut off your contact with that person. Next morning, Sri Ramakrishna asked, can you bring the carriage, horse carriage? Horse carriage comes and he says, can you take me to Girish Ghosh's house? That fellow who abused him such a bad word previous day, and he goes there. And Girish Ghosh was waiting when he was under the influence of alcohol that time. Alcohol gone, but he remembered what he said. He sees Sri Ramakrishna coming, then he runs out and brings him and says, if you had not come, I would have believed that you are not God. That you have come today to me. Only God can do that. Only God can oversee all these insults. Only God can have so much of compassion for a man that you have. You are not a human being. You are definitely God. I can proclaim it to anyone. And he used to say, Sri Ramakrishna is incarnation of God. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna made a fun. Who calls me God? One is the doctor who works in the hospital, and another is this one who does the drama. They call me God. So what does that matter? That he used to say often. His compassion once Girish Ghosh comes, it was summertime, very hot. Sri Ramakrishna was lying very sick in Kashipur garden. He had cancer, throat cancer in advanced state. He couldn't get up. He was skin and bone lying on the bed. And he saw it is hot and Girish Ghosh has come in the hot summertime. He wants to feed him, give him some cold water. And water was kept in an earthen jar in the corner of that big room. And he was on the bed. He couldn't get up from the bed. Seeing Girish Ghosh coming that time, he gets up, utilizes all his power, that physical power that he has, and somehow he crawls to the earthen jar, puts some water in the hand, taste whether it's become cool enough. It was not that cold enough, but he pours in the glass and asks Girish Ghosh, come and drink this water. So much of compassion for the people, that is Sri Ramakrishna. His another wonder is truthfulness. He never uttered truth. And after that, whatever he uttered became truth. That happens. Swami Vivekananda said, if one practices truthfulness for 12 years, it is said in the scriptures also, complete truthfulness, even in the dream, you have to be truthful. Then, first you speak what is truth, then what you speak becomes truth. Sri Ramakrishna was that. So, his truthfulness was incomparable. Very adhered to truth. He used to say, whoever adheres to truth is in fact is sitting on the lap of God. He is not separated from God. Just be truthful in your dealings in the world. Never take course to untruthfulness. Even in the slightest, you'll be closer to God. That's what he said. Once he said that you will go to visit a devotee's house, and in the course of daytime, many devotees came here to talk, answer the questions and all that. He forgot daytime. It was midnight, then he remembers, I had to go there. I said, I will go. But that time everybody slept. Then he calls his attendant, Hidu, come, get up. What, uncle, what are you saying now? I have to go to, I'm sleepy. Get up, we have to go to that devotee's house. You have to go this night, all are sleeping. No, I have given words. Truthfulness has to be there, truth has to be kept. And lantern was burnt alone. He started walking the street of the Chineswar and goes to that house. The door was closed. He goes inside the property, puts his feet inside and says, hello, I have come today. And then comes back. Because all were sleeping. But to keep the words, to give the importance of truthfulness, he could do anything. That was Sri Ramakrishna. His purity. He never had thought anything impure in his mind. Never it crossed. Immaculately pure. Nothing selfishness came. Nothing of the sense pleasure, enjoying the world. Ever those ideas crossed his body. Never did that happen. No trace of impurity was ever in his mind. And embodiment of purity was Sri Ramakrishna. The greatest quality of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother says, is his renunciation. Non-possession of anything. He never possessed anything. He couldn't touch money. And it became the practice because he used to take first money in hand and earth, the soil in one hand, and go to the river and say, this is soil, this is money. All are one, and throw in the Ganga. Trying to impress upon the mind that money is nothing important. So importance of money was totally given up in the mind of Sri Ramakrishna. After that, he couldn't touch coin, he couldn't touch money, never he kept. Once he said that whenever he touched something, after that he couldn't touch metal. That reminded of money, he couldn't touch metal. And that time everything was metallic. What he used to eat? He used to eat on a stone plate because he couldn't touch the metal. If someone had to carry water for him for taking somewhere, other person had to carry, he couldn't touch the metal. Or it has to be done in the earthen pots. So that was there. And Narendranath, a young man, young visitor coming, he had just become acquainted. He heard that he cannot touch, bear the touch of the touch of metal, coin. He said, is that so? Let me tell you. So he takes one coin, and Sri Ramakrishna had gone out of his room. He just puts coin below his mattress. One coin below his mattress. Sri Ramakrishna after a few minutes comes inside, taking the name of God, always inebriated in the thought of God, and sits on his bed. And jumps up like a scorpion bite and says, what happened? Metal was not touching then, but something was there, and as if it was in his mattress, as if he was possessing some money, and he jumps up without any physical touch and says, what happened? See, something might be there inside. And someone searched, there was a coin. Narendranath was sitting, and he looks at Narendranath's head was down, and he said, you have done right. You have done right, you are not angry. Why you are being tested? You have to test holy man like this. Always test holy man like as a goldsmith tests the gold, whether it is false, fake or true. Test the holy man, then only say he is true holy man. He was very happy. That was his renunciation. He didn't possess anything. Nothing was his. And more than not possessing, he had no idea of possession. He was in the room, one person comes and says, you have to leave. So did the owner of the room said that where the Dakshineswar room? He said, yes. Then he put the towel on his shoulder, his towel, and he started going away. Then the owner of the temple, that room, he saw that Sri Ramakrishna is going away. He came running and caught his feet. Where are you going, father? He said, you sent the message, we have to go. He said, no, then where are you going? But I don't know. But he had nothing, no question why I am saying, what did do I wrong, where shall I go, nothing. He never thought that room is his room. He never thought he had no possession, that much of renunciation. Not my room, not my relative, not my body, that was his idea. Everything was mother, everything was God. He used to say, I see God fully inside me. When I look myself inside, I see nothing, it's all God. All Divine Mother. That was his renunciation. Renunciation is not possessing anything. Renunciation is the mental practice, not to have the idea of the possessor of the thing. He practiced that. Sri Ramakrishna, another wonder was practicality. Once one person had gone to Panchavati, and while coming he forgot umbrella. Sri Ramakrishna went there and saw umbrella lying and brought the umbrella and says, who did this? And devotee said, I'm sorry, I forgot that there. You see, you can't remember this one. I can't keep my clothes on my waist. When I think of God, I forget everything. But I do not forget things like you do. He was very particular in keeping things in proper places. Once Sri Ramakrishna went to prayer of the Brahmo Samaj, another religious denomination. And after the prayer was finished, there was a big gathering. After the prayer was finished, nobody was taking care of Sri Ramakrishna. All were busy in having food and all that to every person. The young disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, students of Sri Ramakrishna had gone. And seeing Sri Ramakrishna neglected and not cared for, he said, let's go now. They are not taking any care of us. Sri Ramakrishna says, now it is late at night. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, where did you go and where did you get food? And where did you buy? How much money you have? You don't have any farthing. And you say, let us go. Who will feed us at this hour of night? And we have to go all the way to Dakshineswar and have a carriage. And it takes 3 rupees. Do you have money? You have nothing in your pocket. You are the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, where you will have pocket. And you say, let us go now. Keep quiet and let us wait. They will feed. We have to eat. There is no other way. So, and after some time, someone saw and gave some food, he ate. Now he asked one of the disciples, go and ask for money. They were very young men, and they couldn't take that care of a holy man that had come all the way. They were inexperienced, well organized this prayer gathering. And he was so compassionate for them, had no anything against them. Go and ask for money. They went and they gave 3 rupees, and with that he went there. So practical in life. To Holy Mother he said how to make the weak, how to behave with the relatives, how to treat the devotees, and he said, when you go in the boat, you should go first, you should go last, when you come out first. Like that he taught everything that the world has to do. When you have to cook all these spices. So much he used to teach, how much he cooked. He never had cooked, but he knew that how people cook. But he said, when you cook the thing, make it just right, give all the right spices in the curry. So he taught Holy Mother all these things. So practical he was, though always immersed in the thought of God. He could take his mind away from this world, totally be oblivious of this world. Next moment, he could bring his mind and put fully in the world. That was Sri Ramakrishna. This way and that way. He was in the threshold. Divine Mother herself told, be at the threshold. Sometimes commune with the God, sometimes commune with the devotees. Try to bring the devotees from the world to God. That was his job. As if he was, one side is the God, another side is the world. He used to climb the wall, come on this side, take a devotee, climb up the wall, go inside, put the devotee there, and come again on this side to take another devotee. That was Sri Ramakrishna's love for the devotees, always he was doing. He was coming from Calcutta, and while coming in the carriage, he used to take his head out and look what the people are doing. And he used to see, sometimes he used to see all this Mother, God in every person. Sometimes he used to see the person as he is. He used to say that I can see a person's mind as if a thing is kept inside a glass case. Mind totally seen. How bad, how good, how restless, how meditative, everything he could see. That was his thing. He was once coming to the Dakshineshwar in the carriage. He saw people. People are all running. Their all mind were there in the belly, how to feed, how to enjoy the world. Only that was there. He felt so sorry by coming to and told to Holy Mother, I saw people all are so much engrossed in materialism. They have no higher thoughts, higher ideas. Can you do something for them? So much of compassion. Holy Mother said, what can I do? I am a woman. You have to do what I have done. I have done nothing. You have to do much more than what I have done. That was his thing. Not only he did himself, he saw that his legacy of serving people, giving them knowledge, giving them spiritual awareness is carried over after he gives up his body. He left Holy Mother for that purpose. Holy Mother did for 34 years. He called Swami Vivekananda and said, you have to be like a huge banyan tree. Forget your samadhi, forget your spiritual joy. You have to work incessantly for the good of the people. Suffering, taking all their suffering. That is my command to you. Until you finish your work ordained by Mother, you will not have freedom from working to do good to the world. The key for spiritual illumination now is with me. Go and work. That was how he passed his legacy of service to the devotees, to Holy Mother Sharada Devi, to Swami Vivekananda and other devotees. That was his there. That's why we say this Ramakrishna mission, the great spiritual organization that is formed, is though formed by Swami Vivekananda, but it was originated by Sri Ramakrishna himself. Sri Ramakrishna, another great wonder is his forgiveness. He never took anything that others treated him. Once one person, how much was his forgiveness? You see, once one person came and he was so jealous of Sri Ramakrishna that he found Sri Ramakrishna alone and he was in Samadhi, and he started kicking Sri Ramakrishna with food and said, how you made what charm you have that you have caught that Mathur Babu, is owner of the temple. And he was so jealous. Sri Ramakrishna knew this after some time, and he said, just forgive them. And he made his attendant who heard that, knew that, you will never say this incident to Mathur Babu. Never relate this, because if he knows, he may harm that person. He may harm that person very grievously. So never say this. He could absorb anything, forgive all. That was his great forgiveness. And his unceasing word, how much work he did in life. Swami Vivekananda says, out of 24 hours, 20 hours he used to talk with the people who ever came. Nothing was for him. Once he had throat cancer, speaking was very difficult. Dr. Sarkar said, don't talk with anyone, it aggravates. People used to come and he started talking, answering their questions, he giving spiritual instructions. He never ceased. He worked unceasingly. Unceasingly he worked throughout his life. And his total surrender to God. He always used to say, Mother does everything. I do nothing. I am just a machine. You are the operator. I am the house. You are the indweller. Whenever people said that you give such a great instruction, your words are so powerful, your touch, your presence makes us so changed in our life. We feel we get so much. He says, I do nothing. It is Mother that does through this body. People used to say, when people say me, Master or Guru, it feels like something is striking me. And that was his humility. He never, and total surrender to God. And finally, he taught about the harmony of religions. Not only of religions, in fact, he harmonized everything. He said, the caste creed, that the Hindu society divided by the caste, he said, devotees have no caste. There is no caste of devotees. Devotees are caste by themselves. Who love God, they are a class by themselves. There is no Brahman or Shudra among them. Who are they? They are the devotees of God. They are the lover of God. That's it. Humanity altogether. No gender, no male-female difference. That was Sri Ramakrishna. No poor, rich, no holy, unholy. All mingle and there is harmony of whole society in Sri Ramakrishna's life. That was the wonderful thing of Sri Ramakrishna. And ultimately, Sri Ramakrishna becomes the refuge of mankind. The great power, whoever takes refuge in Sri Ramakrishna gets over all the bondage of samsara, all the weaknesses and limitations of assuming this human body. Let me read at the end what Swami Vivekananda has to say about Sri Ramakrishna, this great wonder. In the presence of my master, I found out that man could be perfect even in this body. Those lips never cursed anyone, never even criticized anyone. Those eyes were beyond the possibility of seeing evil. That mind had lost the power of thinking evil. He saw nothing but good. That tremendous purity, that tremendous renunciation is the one secret of spirituality. Neither through wealth nor through progeny, but through renunciation alone is immortality to be reached, say the Vedas. Sell all that thou hast and give to the poor and follow me, says the Christ. So all great saints and prophets have expressed it and have carried it out in their lives. How can great spirituality come without that renunciation? Renunciation is the background of all religious thought, wherever it be. And you will always find that as this idea of renunciation lessens, the more will the senses creep into the field of religion, and spirituality will decrease in the same ratio. That man was the embodiment of renunciation. In our country, it is necessary for a man who becomes a sannyasin to give up all worldly wealth and position. And this my master carried out literally. There were many who would have felt themselves blessed if he would only have accepted a present from their hands, who would gladly have given him thousands of rupees if he would have taken them. But these were the only men from whom he would turn away. He was a triumphant example, a living realization of the complete conquest of lust and of desire for money. He was beyond all idea of either, and such men are necessary for this century. Such renunciation is necessary in these days, when men have begun to think that they cannot live a month without what they call their, within quotes, necessities, and which they are increasing out of all proportion. It is necessary in a time like this that a man should arise to demonstrate that to the skeptics of the world that there yet breathes a man who does not care a straw for all the gold or all the fame that is in the universe. Yet there are such men. The other idea of his life was intense love for others. The first part of my master's life was spent in acquiring spirituality, and the remaining years in distributing it. People in our country have not the same customs as you have in visiting a religious teacher or a sannyasi. Somebody would come to ask him about something, some perhaps would come hundreds of miles, walking all the way, just to ask one question, to hear one word from him. Tell me one word for my salvation. That is the way they come. They come in numbers, unceremoniously, to the place where he is mostly to be found. They may find him under a tree and question him. And before one set of people has gone, others have arrived. So if a man is greatly revered, he will sometimes have no rest day or night. He will have to talk constantly. For hours, people will come pouring in, and this man will be teaching them. So men came in crowds to hear him, Sri Ramakrishna. And he would talk 20 hours in the 24, and that not for one day, but for months and months, until at last the body broke down under the pressure of this tremendous strain. His intense love for mankind would not let him refuse to help even the humblest of the thousands who sought his aid. Gradually, they developed a vital throat disorder, and yet he could not be persuaded to refrain from these exertions. As soon as he heard that people were asking to see him, he would insist upon having them admitted and would answer all their questions. When expostulated with, he replied, "I do not care. I will give up 20,000 such bodies to help one man. It is glorious to help even one man." There was no rest for him. Once a man asked him, "Sir, you are a great yogi. Why do you not put your mind a little on your body and cure your disease?" At first, he didn't answer. But when the question had been repeated, he gently said, "My friend, I thought you were a sage, but you talk like other men of the world. This mind has been given to the Lord. Do you mean to say that I should take it back and put it upon the body, which is but a mere cage of the soul?" So he went on preaching to the people, and the news spread that his body was about to pass away, and the people began to flock to him in greater crowds than ever. You cannot imagine the way they came to these great religious teachers in India, how they crowd round them and make gods of them while they are yet living. Thousands wait simply to touch the hem of their garments. It is through this appreciation of spirituality in others that spirituality is produced. I want to repeat this sentence. It is through this appreciation of spirituality in others that spirituality is produced. Whatever man wants and appreciates, he will get. And it is the same with nations. If you go to India and deliver a political lecture, however grand it may be, you will scarcely find people to listen to you, but just go and teach religion. Live it, not merely talk it, and hundreds will crowd just to look at you, to touch your feet. When the people heard that this holy man was likely to go from them soon, they began to come around him more than ever. And my master went on teaching them without the least regard for his health. We could not prevent this. Many of the people came from long distances, and he would not rest until he had answered their questions. "While I can speak, I must teach them," he would say. And he was as good as his word. One day, he told us that he would lay down the body that day, and repeating the most sacred word of the Vedas, he entered into Mahasamadhi and passed away. This was a tribute of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda to Sri Ramakrishna, who definitely and undoubtedly is a great wonder. People used to say, Swami Vivekananda himself said that he is a Jagabhushana. He made the world more beautiful. What the ornament of the world, what the ornament does is makes the personality, the person beautiful. It adds the glory of the person. The glory of the world, at least the spiritual world, is added by the advent of this great wonder, Sri Ramakrishna. People used to say that people of this place, when Sri Ramakrishna was living, used to say, they don't know who you are. They don't know to take care how great a person you are. Really, he was an unknown tree, like unknown tree. He is an unknown person. The more we go deep, study his life, read his teachings, we come to know more greatness of him. And the more we know, then we're wondrous struck of this great wonder.